now we bring to you Dallas Cowboys Executive Vice President Stephen Jones. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Now, I heard Jerry say that there would be opportunity to trade down, as there usually are in drafts if you want it. But I was curious, with the first 3-round picks and then not another pick until 174, do you feel the need to try and pick up another top 100, top 125 pick?
Well, I would tell you normally, which we always have looked at that, in that area, we've always looked maybe at a quarterback. Doesn't usually the case. That's why we went ahead and pulled the trigger on our 4th rounder with Trey Lance. And so that really, helps us out there. But, just in order to have a 4th round pick, no, we wouldn't just move down for that. I think Jerry was pretty clear in there. If it's if it's a player that we think's the player, then we're going to pick him. If there's an opportunity to trade down and we think either there's not the player or there's, 3 or 4 guys that we think may still be there, if we trade down and pick up another 3 or a 4, then certainly we'll entertain it.
Stephen, what's if you were to build the perfect running back for this offense, what would that perfect running back look like?
Barry Sanders works. Emmitt Smith works. Earl Campbell could work.
All right. Okay. In
all seriousness, obviously you like a back who's got versatility, a back who's not only, can run the ball between the tackles, he can run the stretch play outside, and he can catch the ball out of the backfield. And, oh, by the way, he'll, step up there and hit a linebacker right in the mouth pass blocking. I mean, those are the qualities you look for. Very rarely does a back, have all those qualities. But certainly, Mike's always looking for versatility, and that's why most of the time now you look around the league now, and there's a lot of teams that do this by committee because, it takes a couple of backs to hit all those points in terms of where you want strength in your running game as well as your passing game.
And what is the philosophy of the Cowboys on taking players with injury history or concerns versus players without injury history? Because y'all do seem to sometimes go, you know what, we're willing to take a risk at this round or with this type of player.
Yeah, I think it all depends on the injury. At the end of the day, you've got to get your hands around. We got our hands around 1 year with Jalen Smith that we knew we weren't going to have him for a year. And that's the hardest one to make. There's other ones that you make the decision that, hey, he might not be 100%, the first quarter of the season, but he'll be heading in that direction. And, by, halfway through the season, you'll have him full board. Then you certainly handicap that in a different way than you do the one I just talked about with the Jalen Smith. There's also the ones that have injuries that, could ultimately affect career longevity. So each one of them, to really be fair, is different. And then it's compared to what? What are you going to pass up in order to go with a player that maybe or that has an injury that might limit him into training camp and maybe even the first part of the season versus, one that's going to take a lot longer. All those things go into play when you ultimately make that decision.
One of the things that came up in the press conference is Jerry talked about, it was about Dak, but it's probably about a lot of players. Sometimes you just have to wait for a little bit more action. Is that more action in terms of hearing from Dak's agent? Is that in terms of watching how the market shakes out? Could you give us a little clarification on that?
Yeah, I think it's all the above. I mean, there's let's go, Dak seems to always be at the center of attention. I understand why. He's one of the quarterback of the Cowboys and one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But like a CeeDee Lamb, there's a certain wide receiver market out there right now. And then you always have situations where you have unique players that are coming up that are wanting to, maybe move that market. And certainly, when you look around the league and you see a Jefferson, you see a Chase, Jamar Chase, you see obviously CD, those things make it hard. And of course, I'm sure those guys have conversations with one another as well as their agents have with one another. And I'm sure they're, have their thoughts there. So a lot of times they can just be difficult. Certainly, Micah, he's still he's got his tender this year. Then he's got certainly those guys probably aren't going away from us anytime soon, and so you just don't want to really step out there. We don't. In our case, if we saw the right deal, we'd hit it and we'd make a deal. But I think that wanting to see, as Jerry said, some cards played, I think probably works on both sides, and that's why you have to be patient on these things.
And then last thing I got for you, since you are so in tune with the salary cap, I'm hoping for clarification so we can understand this better. I can understand this better. Because of the void years and how that works, if Dak Prescott were to play out his contract, move on, is there still like a $40 million cap hit that comes along with him after he's gone? And does that add pressure to keep him here?
No, I don't think it adds. I mean, the pressure to keep Dak here is Dak's a supreme leader. He's outstanding. He's, I think he's second in MVP this year. We've won 12 football games 3 years in a row. I mean, obviously the elephant in the room, whether it's Jerry and myself, whether it's Mike McCarthy, whether it's Dak, whether it's CD, Micah, is we've got to have success in the playoffs. So, to me, that's the only thing there in terms of, in terms of what we're working through with Dak and what we can put around him.
And is that accurate because of the void years that there'll still be a hit if for some reason he were to leave?
Yes. I mean, there is that. I would say that's an accurate number, but I don't think it puts pressure on you because obviously most of the time you're going into a situation where you are going to have a quarterback that costs quite a bit less if that were to happen. Certainly our thoughts aren't focused on that. They're focused on what type of situation works for us and for Dak in terms of a contract extension for him.
Well, Stephen, just know that every time you talk to Kevin, he's still trying to apply for that job to be your cap guy. So don't ever forget, he always wants to do that for you, all right?
I'll keep you guys in mind for sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. We'll catch up with you again Friday.
Being on with you.